Hey guys, just wanted to make one more quick video. I wanted to inject this in my previous video today, but I ran out of time. But highly important nonetheless. There's been a lot of, cats being let out the bag, so to speak, regarding the U.S. and the funding and support of ISIS and the al-Nusra Front and the terrorists over in Syria. And I highly encourage you guys, I'll leave a link to this video, but I highly suggest watching this. This is an exclusive video from RT News. They're interviewing Bashar al-Jafari, who is the Syrian ambassador to the United Nations, and he's basically going on record talking about how Damascus knows Washington is backing the terrorists and that they're using al-Nusra as a human shield and this and that, and they're supporting him and funding them. And the airstrike on the government troops, how they didn't even apologize for it. They came out and said that we made a mistake, but they didn't even bother to apologize to Syria for it, and that itself could have kicked off World War III. But of course, Russia and Syria showed restraint, or maybe not, depending on how you look at it and what the aftermath of that has caused and what is going to happen because of it. But nonetheless, it's about a 32-minute video, but it's very, very informative, very telling, and it just gives you a different perspective and shows you the other side of it, rather than coming out from mainstream media, which I know you guys probably don't watch, which is why you're subscribed to my channel. You're trying to get information that you don't normally see on Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, and obviously not full of propaganda that they tell and bullshit lies on a daily basis. Luckily people are starting to wake up on a daily basis. I think the numbers came out a few weeks ago from Associated Press that the trust and the viewership of mainstream media has actually hit historic all-time lows. So people are starting to wake up and starting to realize that they are being spoon-fed bullshit propaganda every day, and they're switching to alternative sites such as RT News, even though you could call them the enemy, some people would think, because it's Russian sponsored, but they've got political analysts throughout Washington and New York and some highly respected individuals throughout the world that are on this show because they don't really have an agenda like the alphabet news agencies do in the U.S. They're sort of just out there trying to they're truth seekers and watchers on the wall, just like me and you, and they're trying to get the truth out there. So obviously you guys have to form your own opinion. You can't believe everything you hear on the web, but the corroborating evidence is overwhelming. And when you get all these different news agencies agreeing on the same thing and talking about the same article and the same basically the same things that are happening in the world each day, you kind of got to take that as gospel and realize that they're all sort of preaching the same message of truth, so to speak. So anyway, I digress. There's another video here I'll leave the link to. This is from Sergei Lavrov, who is basically John Kerry's counterpart. I'm sure you guys have seen this guy before. He goes on record with BBC the other day talking about the same thing that this Syrian UN ambassador did, basically saying that U.S. is protecting al-Qaeda and al-Nusra, and the West and NATO are working towards the regime change in Syria to oust Assad and are going to be switching to their plan B, which obviously is going to involve some sort of military incursion. So I'll leave a link to that. Very interesting interview. He's, BBC is just trying to drill him, and just the questions, the propaganda questions coming out of this guy who's interviewing him makes you want to punch him in the face, because it's just it's ridiculous. And obviously Sergei Lavrov is denying any sort of allegations that he's throwing at him. So highly suggest watching this, and of course this one right here. I'll leave links to both of those. We've also got a few other articles that came out the past week or so. There's an interview with one of the al-Qaeda commanders in Syria saying that Americans stand on our side, and they're talking about how Israel and America and NATO are basically helping them and funding them, and they're on their side and this and that. So I won't go into this in too much detail. I'll leave the link for that for you guys to read. You may have already seen that before. We've also got Syria claims to have recording a conversation between ISIS and the U.S. military before the strike on the Syrian army. This came out of Zero Hedge about a week or so ago. Some of you guys may have seen this. I have not heard the audio recording. I don't know if it's been released yet. If you guys have seen it or heard it, I would appreciate it if you could direct me to that or leave a link for it. But as of yet, I have not heard this so-called audio conversation that ISIS and the U.S. military had before they conducted their strike on the Syrian military. They killed over 80 Syrian and Russian troops. But nonetheless, this is just more proof coming out that we are working in conjunction with ISIS, unfortunately, and supporting them. So not only that, but I mean, there have been articles coming out throughout the years. You guys have probably seen, between the Toyota trucks that they're driving in Syria and between the quote unquote missed drops of ammunition and armaments throughout Syria. There were tons and tons of weapons that were dropped to Al Qaeda and ISIS in Syria. The U.S. claiming that they were all missed drops, but I'm pretty sure they're not that stupid. They've got some of the best radar equipment and just technology in the world. The U.S. military does, and the fact that they continue to misdrop armaments to ISIS is you just have to be an idiot to believe that. So let's see. We've also got leaked Kerry comments prove U.S. involvement in Syrian crisis from the onset. There's an audio recording of good old Frankenstein John Kerry talking about how they wanted to oust Assad from the get-go, and it had nothing to do with the Syrian crisis and the civilians and the refugee issue. It all had to do with Assad, toppling Assad, and the argument for the use of force in Syria, and this and that. So I'll leave an article for that. Some of you guys may have already heard it. And last but not least, we've got one of the biggest bombshells here. U.S. paid over $500 million for counterfeit Al-Qaeda propaganda. It has been revealed by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism that the Pentagon paid at least $540 million to a UK public relations firm to produce fake Al-Qaeda videos as part of a clandestine propaganda campaign. So this basically goes to prove that the quote-unquote conspiracy theorists were right when all these ISIS and Al-Qaeda videos have been coming out through the past years from like 2010, showing all these beheading videos that were proven to be fake. We even have this from this is from Global Research CA, ISIS beheadings of journalists. The CIA even admitted to staging fake jihadist videos in 2010. So this goes on to basically prove that as well, and talk more about that, how the U.S. has been paying millions upon millions of dollars to these public relations firms were basically creating all these propaganda videos, which, in my opinion, turned into the ISIS videos later on, because this is talking more about Iraq, but obviously, they're all peas in the same pod. So in any case, just wanted to share this information with you guys. More importantly, I would highly recommend watching this video. It's a little bit long, but it's definitely worth it. And like I said, it'll give you a different viewpoint and perspective of what's going on over in Syria from the mouth of the Syrian ambassador to the UN. And he's basically telling it exactly how it is, and what most of the U.S. Political analysts and the guys who aren't the pundits and the mouthpieces for the mainstream media, like CNN and all that, are talking about as well. And it's very, very telling interviews. So that's all I got, guys. I'll see you in my next video. I'll keep you updated with whatever new information comes about. Obviously, I think things are going to start to heat up pretty quickly here. They already have already, with the U.S. basically canceling all communications with Russia now. We've learned from the past, when this has happened before, war pretty much starts after that. It's basically saying, hey, I'm done with you. We're done talking, and we're going to go to war. So, all right, guys, I'll see you in my next video. Take care. Have a good one.